I'm sitting here at the home of Ananda Russ in Cape Town, and I met Ananda about 4 years ago when we moved down to the Cape, and she has an amazing story to tell of how really shocking her health was. She had serious digestive problems, probably on her en route to cancer, a serious cancer, and changed her lifestyle, diet. And I really just want you, Ananda, to tell us from the beginning, where were you? How did you start? What was your health like? What was your diet like? Tell us all the gory details of all the terrible things that were wrong with you. And then tell us, the thing is, because people want to know that there's hope. They want to know that you don't have to go just give up and kind of accept the fact that you're sick and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think your story is so amazing.
Sure. I was 23 years old when I woke up one morning and I couldn't swallow. And I lived in Cape Town. My mum lived in Worcester. And I phoned her and I said, "Ma, it's really, really painful to swallow." And she said to me, "Well, then don't swallow." So and I remember it was a Tuesday morning. So from the Tuesday until the Friday, just to swallow saliva brought tears to my eyes. So on the Friday, I went through to Worcester, and on the Saturday morning, I saw the GP. Sent me off to go and see the surgeon, and they did a gastroscope. And he was completely bamboozled because he said to me that my esophagus was covered in little blisters. So he took some nips and sent it off, and the doctor immediately booked me into hospital, where I stayed for a week, and I had liquidized food. But I was fine. I just couldn't swallow. So on the next Friday, I booked myself out, and by that time, the swallowing was getting better. So came home, and about 4 months later, exactly the same thing happened again. And I phoned Mom and I said, "I can't cope with this. It was very, very painful." So phoned a friend of ours who is the head of the renal clinic at Grooteskier, and he gave me a letter of recommendation to the GIT clinic at Grooteskier. Went and met up with the head that was heading the GIT, and this, for me, a month of extensive tests started. I had numerous gastroscopes, I had colonoscopies, I had barium meals, I had small bowel barium, I had barium enemas, I had skin allergy tests and everything. And the funny thing is, in those days, the barium didn't contain any cellulose. Yeah. So on a Sunday, I will have a little bottle of castor oil that I had to prepare my digestive system for the barium. The next day, I would go and have all these x-rays and the barium meal, for instance. And as soon as I was done with that, I had to have another bottle of castor oil to get the barium out, because it would become like cement in your intestines. Anyway, so after a month, needless to say, I lost 22 kilograms in that month. I was delighted because I was quite a big girl, weighed about 86 at my peak.
Goodness me.
Yeah, it was lovely. Nobody argued with me, I just sat on them. So I lost all the weight.
And that's 86 kilograms, not pounds.
Yes, no, kilograms. So anyway, after the month, the doctor was very delighted to tell me that they have diagnosed that I have got irritable bowel disease, as well as that I have got Crohn's. Very happy, first person in the Western Cape to present with this disease in my esophagus. Promptly put me on to very high dosage of cortisone and some immunosuppressant medicine that he has said to me will be lifelong because it's incurable, and that was it. Told me to have a glass of milk a day and just, grin and bear it and make the best of it. So went on the cortisone, very ignorant, no internet in those days, and my father was a medical doctor, so I did what the doctor told me. The cortisone made me bloat in my face. I had a perfect moon face, but I lost a lot of weight. My weight on the cortisone came down to about 57, 56 kilograms. Around about that time, I met my husband, and I'm so grateful that he came into my life, because I don't know how I would have coped with all of this if Herbie wasn't part of it. So the cortisone went off after about 3 months tapering off, and I would be fine, and then suddenly one day I will just have an attack again. In the meantime, the Crohn's disease sort of like moved down the digestive tract, and it sort of like settled in my small intestines and in my colon, beginning part of the colon. And it was hell. It was absolute hell. I didn't look ill because of the cortisone, but I was feeling awful, absolutely terrible. I have to tell you, at the time I was smoking and I was drinking wine. I grew up with meat, potatoes and rice. My dad used to say potatoes, now that's enough vegetables in the diet. I didn't know anything about vegetables. I was born in Namibia, so vegetables was very expensive. And I remember as a 5-year-old, my dad giving me my first enema because I was so constipated. Goodness. And that has always been part of it. My mum, after my father passed away, my mum and I lived alone. And I remember it was coffee and rusks for breakfast, and it was 2 slices of white bread with peanut butter and syrup for school. And when I come back from school, Mum wouldn't be there, so I would have a slice of bread and off to hockey practice or off to tennis practice, and come home in the evening. Mum had a long day, and it would be a cup of soup with a slice of bread. So there was no fibre in my diet whatsoever. So today I'm not surprised that I got ill. However, through the years, for the next 10 years, it was on and off. There was a time that I worked at the Deciduous Fruit Board, and I remember I ate a lot of apples, and that was the time that I was at my healthiest. Was still on the immunosuppressants, felt like absolute, if I'm allowed to say that word, sorry. It was awful. I was terribly depressed. I planned my suicide about 3 times, to the point of actually walking out the whole process. Today I know that the Lord actually tapped me on the shoulder and pulled me back. Continued to drink, had terrible eating habit. I lived on my own. I would eat tomatoes for 3 days non-stop, and then I would go on to chocolate yogurt because it was convenient, and then I would have Kentucky in those days made the most awesome hamburgers. Then I would have a Kentucky hamburger for 4 days with nothing else. And then suddenly I would just have steamed vegetables. Yeah, I mean, I had no idea about diet whatsoever. Anyway, but I paid the price, and the doctor kept on saying to me, no hope, this is with you for the rest of your life. In the meantime, I started to realize that dairy was a very bad thing for me. Never drank milk and never liked cheese. Don't like the slimy taste and feeling in my mouth. So the cheese and the milk wasn't so bad, but the ice cream. Loved ice cream. But found that if I had some ice cream, literally within 5 to 10 minutes, I would be in such agony. I would be doubled over with pain that I wouldn't be able to walk up straight. So Mom being very pragmatic, and she said, if it hurts when you press there, then don't press there. So I stopped eating ice cream, and there was an improvement for me. However, continued with the wheat and continued with meat, but found at a time, one day the light just went on, and meat made me feel grey. So I decided, well, do I really need the meat? So cut out the meat, and also cut out the wheat, because I would eat wheat and then I would just bloat and I would feel absolutely awful about it. So I decided that if meat makes me feel grey, then I'll cut out the meat. Yeah. So slowly but surely I started changing my diet, but I wasn't really sure of what was working and what wasn't working. And then in 1998, I was introduced to Bali and the Bali products. And that helped me a great deal because it was building my immune system, and I was really starting to take good care of me. I found your book. A friend of mine introduced me to your Natural Way book. And MaryAnn, I understood it, and I was doing a lot of it already. But the thing that really turned it around for me was the food combining. Oh, really? It was just taking the protein and the carbohydrates, or concentrated carbohydrates, and separating that. It was tremendous. So with the BarleyLife, I started using Herbal Fiber Blend, and that was fantastic because at the worst time of being ill, I would go to the toilet about 26 times a day. I had severe diarrhea. A lot of bleeding. You feel very depressed. You feel you've got no energy, none whatsoever. You plan all your trips around public restrooms. Never missed work. Wasn't 100% at work, but never missed work a lot. Just you don't want to keep on living at times because you are feeling so bad. Anyway, and then in 93, I met the Lord, and that changed a tremendous amount of things for me. Because I was building my faith, and suddenly I knew that here was the anchor that I could stand on. And it was amazing. It seemed like every time I was about to fall ill, I would get a scripture, but a scripture that was really strong. I remember one night at about 3 o'clock, the Lord waking me up, and I heard the words, "I will never leave you and I will never forsake you." So I held on to that, and that made it much better for me. I've always been a very positive type of person, so I would say, well, Crohn's isn't that bad, at least I'm not picking up weight, you know. Just sort of like try to make it a more positive spin on everything. However, coming back to the Herbal Fiber Blend, what I loved about the Herbal Fiber Blend is that it was actually healing my digestive system for me. The irritable bowel disease was literally going away, and it was just incredible to be able to go to the loo without being in pain, because I would vacillate between diarrhea and constipation. And suddenly it was actually lovely to go to the loo. So Herbal Fiber Blend is a huge favorite of mine. When I landed with the AIM company, I really landed with the right company. Back to 98, when I read your book, it made a lot of sense, and the Food-Combining started making sense to me. And then in 2000, I actually bought your course, and that was great for me, because it took me a long time to finish it, because I was just working through it at my own pace. And today I'm doing consulting, and I absolutely love it, because I know what it has done for me. I'm sleeping better, my weight is constant, I have a huge amount of energy. So many things have changed. My skin has changed. The one downfall of the cortisone is the fact that my skin is extremely thin. So, but of course the doctors don't tell you that, you know, you sort of like have to find out later in life. So I did the course, and that really helped me a great deal. The thing that I found extremely frustrating where I'm standing now today is the fact that of how little the doctor really told me what was wrong with me, and how the side effects of the medication. The cortisone, I remember, you know, I couldn't sleep. I would sleep about an hour a night. So my whole family got new clothes because I did a lot of sewing in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning. The fact that you're extremely hungry, but nothing seems to satisfy your hunger. It was really awful. And I just think that, you know, if I hadn't abused my body so badly during the 20s when I was ill with this disease, how much better I would have been today. This is the one thing that I want to say to you, is that it has taken me about 8 to 9 years to get well. So, and even today, I know that gradually I am getting better. I know that if I eat wheat today, I can cope with it because my digestive system is healthy now. However, I don't feel well. My skin dries out from wheat. I actually start getting itchy shins, something terrible. I also know that I can eat meat if I do so wish, but I do better on a vegetarian diet. And I think this is where the natural way is so great for me. And my husband has changed from meat, rice and potatoes to a more vegetarian diet as well. And he's doing much better as well. He stopped snoring. He's not quite as aggressive as what he used to be. He has lost about 8 kilograms in weight. When people meet him, they think he's about 10 kilograms or 10 years younger than what he really is. So for us as a family, as in me and Herbie, it has really made a huge difference to our lives. I find that I am sleeping better. When I put my head down, I would just sleep. And once that started happening to me, I realized that for about 18 years, I never had a good night's rest because I would sleep very lightly. I would wake up for the slightest of noise in the house, and the children just hated it because they couldn't sneak into the house in the middle of the night because I would hear them. But I was paying a price for it. I always had extremely dark circles under my eyes. My skin was dull, you know. My skin wasn't smooth either. I just never had any energy. And now my energy is boundless. I get up at 6:45, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I actually have to force myself to go to sleep at night. At 10 o'clock I go, okay, you need to sleep now. You need to rest. But I don't. In 2000, one of the side effects of the Crohn's was also that I had very bad arthritis. And in the year 2000, I had it extremely bad. My elbows froze completely, and I had very little movement in my arms. My right knee just seized up completely and couldn't bend it, and my left ankle was just completely seized as well. So it was literally hunkety-pinkety up and down the passage, and it was extremely painful. However, I found during that time that if sometimes I don't do well with potatoes. So I cut out potatoes completely. I cut out the bell peppers completely. And I cut out tomatoes. I love tomatoes, but I cut that out completely. And that helped me get better because I didn't want to take any medication. However, I'm using AIMS Frame Essentials as a maintenance for me now. And for the last 3 years, I've been doing Pilates for mobility. And I can now straighten my arms, which I couldn't do before. You know, my arm this was straight and this was bent. That was it. But now I can straighten my arms again. I'm much stronger. I'm really doing so well. And I put it down to a healthy lifestyle. I do exercise every day. I get outside in the sun 20 to 30 minutes a day. I'm not scared of going out in the sun, whereas previously I would go into the sun and turn beetroot red. Now I don't, because I know that I'm doing the things the right way around. For me, what I love about the natural way is that it is a common sense approach to health. And it is something that I can manage. And let me tell you, I always say to people I'm not very good in the kitchen. But since I found the Natural Way recipe books, I love entertaining. I love having people over. And I love introducing them to tasty, healthy, nutritious vegetarian meals. Because if I say to them I'm a vegetarian, they go, "Oh, you're eating cardboard." And I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm eating fantastic food." So this is what I love to do. And I normally invite the meat eaters, and then I will make a meal completely devoid of meat. And they are gobsmacked by it. They are just, "I can't believe, I've actually eaten salad and it was delicious and it was lekker." So the recipe books has been fantastic for me because it is quick and easy. I don't want to spend hours and hours in the kitchen. I want to run into the kitchen and 20 minutes later a meal must be on the table. And it has changed my life in a very gentle way, because I don't like change all that much. But and even Herbie, being much older than me, he doesn't enjoy change at all. But he has slowly but surely, we have converted him. I said to myself, I'm giving us 2 years' time to change to a vegetarian diet. Herbie still eats meat from time to time. I choose not to. But it has been so gradual that I've got friends that now actually phone me and say, "When are you inviting us for lunch?" Such as MaryAnns has just done too. Yeah, so that's my story in a nutshell.
And then I think what I really loved about you when I first met you was this incredible passion and energy that you had. And I mean, it's quite shocking to realize just how severe your health problems were. I mean, Crohn's disease is a very debilitating disease. And the medical profession will tell you there is no cure, there is nothing you can do about it, you just have to be on drugs for the rest of your life. So it's just so awesome for people to just hear your story, in the severe condition, and to see you all these years later just sparkling with health and energy. And we've been talking about having lunch with you for ages, so I thought we'll come across and get your story from you, and then let's go into the kitchen and make some of this unbelievably delicious food. And I think the reason we've got to do it as well is, you saying you were never a good cook, or you just never felt confident in the kitchen. And I don't think people realize just how easy it is and how much fun it is and how absolutely delicious the food is. So I'm looking forward to getting into your kitchen with you. So I think we'll go across and do that. And then we must hurry up, because now I'm getting very hungry and I want to eat. Okay. Thank you for your time. And remember that Ananda is a natural health consultant in the Western Cape. And if you go to our website, www.MaryAnns.com, you can get her details. And if you feel the need to come and see her, she's a wonderful person to sit and talk to and to help you with your diet.